day, family, and welcome all. My name is Fidel Quesada, and I'm here presenting E4U, Educators for Fair Consideration. As mentioned before, we are a nonprofit organization whose main mission is to empower and educate the undocumented youth in their path to success. Today, we'd like to continue this new branch in our program, baptized as E4U, Educators for You, where we'll continue to cover all the major concepts, laws, updates, and many more things, all concerning our community. Without further ado, let's begin. Family, the California State Law Assembly Bill AB540, or simply AB540, has for a long time now represented a huge lift off of the shoulders of many undocumented students and non-residents of the beautiful state of California. As many people should know by now, but maybe don't because oppression, AB540 is a law that was passed back in 2001 by the California legislature, the group of people that make laws, and signed into the California law on October 12, 2001 by our former governor of California. No, not that one. Oh, I can't believe we elected him. That one. Gray Davis. This law allowed eligible students to pay residential fees, or in-state tuition, instead of non-resident fees if they will be attending a California public institution of higher education, meaning a California community college or university, such as a CSU or a UC, as long as they meet a specific criteria. This law added a new section into the California Educational Code that was more recently amended or updated with the Assembly Bill 2000, or AB 2000, which expanded the AB 540 qualifications and opened up the doors to even more students attending a public institution in California. These laws were written to help all the undocumented students as well as the U.S. citizens or residents who are not residents of the state of California. But by now, perhaps you might be thinking, why is it so important to be considered a resident of the state in the school in which you'll be attending? I have papers. True. I can get financial aid and whatnot, right? Maybe. I don't have to pay those crazy tuition fees that those international and undocumented students have to pay, right? Wrong. In California, just like many other states in the U.S., higher education institutions have separate tuition rates for their residents and their non-residents. Just to give y'all an idea of the real difference between the tuition rates, in 2015, the UC system approximated the average in-state tuition for a student to be of about $13,400 versus $38,000 for a non-resident. That's 3 times more that you have to pay for the same education, just because you're not considered a resident. And so I think by now, the significance of this law has caught everyone's attention, right? Meaning, it's a perfect time to present the requisites to be considered an AB 540 student. First, the student must be attending a California public college or university. That means that private universities such as Stanford or St. Mary's, for example, are not included in this law. It also doesn't include any school outside of California because obviously this is a California law. It will, however, include beautiful schools such as UC Berkeley, UC Davis, San Francisco State University, San Jose State University, etc. All public colleges and universities. Second, the student must have attended a California K-12 school, private or public, for a minimum of 3 years. Also, not or, but also, the student must have completed a minimum of 3 years of high school credits. And for those of you who came to this state and maybe have 2 years, to graduate from high school, you might be thinking, well, how am I supposed to complete 3 years of high school credits? Well, it is possible if you petition to stay an extra year in high school in order to complete those 3 years of credits. And yes, I know what you're thinking. Another year in high school. However, if you really just stop and think about it, 1 extra year in high school so you don't have to pay 3 times more every year in college. I'm not a mathematician. Wait, actually, I am. Believe me, it's a sacrifice worth doing if you need to. But let's not forget that the student must have graduated from a California high school or attained an equivalent, such as a GED, prior to the start of their college term. The next requisite for a student to be considered AB 540 is for the student to not hold a valid non-immigrant visa, meaning a student or visitor visa. However, this doesn't apply to the students who are non-immigrants and are victims of trafficking, domestic violence, and other serious crimes. These students most likely have a T or U visa and would qualify to apply to become an AB 540 recipient. Lastly, the student must file an affidavit at the school that they will be attending. This document serves 2 main purposes. One being to verify that they meet all the mentioned educational requisites, and the second is to clarify the intent to establish legal residency, meaning get papers, as soon as they're eligible to do so. The student can submit this document by printing it, filling it out, sign it, and turn it in either in person or by mail to the financial aid office of their school. When submitting this document, however, the student must remember to turn it in alongside their official high school transcript before the first day of school and before they pay any sort of tuition fees. Failure to do so will sadly result in the student having to pay the non-resident tuition fees for that term. However, on the next term, when you finally remember to turn it in, you can file another one and you won't have to pay that much. All students must remember, however, to not be afraid to submit any sort of documents to their college or university, such as your college application or your financial aid forms. Under the California law, undocumented students are not required to show a state ID, a social security number, proof of legal residency, or even information on their country of citizenship. All of the student information obtained in this process is strictly confidential, unless disclosure is required under state law, meaning unless you really mess up. This is why it's essential to not lie in your application or any other application you're going to be submitting to a university. The Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act of 1974, or FERPA, is the law that protects the confidentiality of the student's records. All of the information you provide to the college is private and confidential and cannot be shared with anyone, not even immigration officials such as the INS or even ICE. And hopefully by now, the path to higher education is starting to look a little brighter. I know it did for me when I learned about all of this. One must always keep in mind that you are never alone in this fight. During the 2005-2006 academic year, over 1,500 students in the UC system received AB540. And that was 10 years ago. And just in the UC system. We are never alone, family. And we must not forget our fellow undocumented brothers and sisters across the states. Because although AB 540 doesn't apply to anyone outside of California, there are other states out there offering laws that are very similar to AB 540, some of which include Oregon, New York, Texas, etc. And let's not forget that there's also scholarships out there that always provide great help. And in California's case, if you qualify for AB 540, you can also fill out the California Dream Act, which we'll be talking about in our next video. As a conclusion, we must know and spread the knowledge that regardless of one's immigration status, students can and should apply for admission to a college or university, especially because public colleges and universities cannot, I repeat, cannot discriminate the admission of a student based on his or her immigration status. There are thousands of undocumented students studying and graduating with associate's degrees, bachelor degrees, master degrees, and even doctorate degrees. And what does it take? Ganas. And that was it for this video. Thank you for watching. My name is Fidel Quesada, representing E4FC. Remember to check out our future videos, as well as our website in the description below. Every view, thumbs up, and subscription is greatly appreciated. We'll see y'all next time, where we'll continue to empower and educate our community in their path to success.